Why All right, let's try this again. So hopefully you can now see your face and you can also hear me. Okay. Know where my face is. I think it's right there. Let me check Instagram. Let me check Instagram. That's the only thing I would love if I could continue to do this on TikTok because on TikTok I know exactly like how to use it, but using something like this, I have no idea. So like right now, I can't camera. I have no why is my camera not showing me? I don't know why I can't see the camera. So I'm gonna try to just point this one at you for now. I don't know why you guys cannot see me on my main camera. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that. How about that? All right. So like I said, we're doing circuit analysis tonight. Um, this is ideally something that you would also see, which I've recently learned on the MCAT and different things like that. So me doing this is not only helping engineering students, but also medical students or engineers who are now out of college, but they are preparing to go back to school to take the EIT or the FE or the PE, which is a professional engineer's exam, so that they can become a professional engineer or engineering and training or fundamentals of engineering. So all of this is reminders to help you to brush up on some of those skills that you used to have that may have gotten a little rusty. So we are going to get started now. And it looks like I see two images here on TikTok. I don't know if they're both moving. So let me go back in here again. I see a static image on Instagram, but let me go in TikTok and see how that's looking. I do apologize, guys. I am my own producer, so I have to get it all set up. I'm my own content creator and my own producer. So if you are here, hopefully you are understanding as I try to figure all this out. Once we are happy with it, we're going to get started. Okay. I am using my mod account to make sure everything looks all right. It seems to be doing okay. So we are starting now. Okay. All right. Let's just see how we're going. Like I said, I'm always going to start with a book first. I would love to be on my other camera, but I got to get the other camera to work. Okay. Because the other camera would be the forward facing camera. Um, so maybe please make sure that you are liking, sharing, and commenting on the live to help to get us out on the FYP and to make sure that everyone stays engaged. Thank you for coming to hang with me today. Okay, I just found another option here, and unfortunately, it did not work. Okay, I'm done. I have no idea. All right, let's get started. Like I said, I'm doing a little bit of circuit analysis tonight for STEAM Saturday because I did a whole bunch of roboteering last night if you were here. So I want to try to do something new. And as usual, we are going to start by reading one of my children's books first. Okay, so let's try that. All right. I don't know what's going on with this thing. It is just not cooperating like at all. Okay, let's get started. So if you're new here, please make sure that you are visiting my TikTok shop or everywhere that books are sold so that you can check out all of my books. So I think I'm going to start by reading a little bit of one of my romance novels first. So remember, I always read either a children's book or a romance novel when we first start in order to promote diversity in STEM, which we are doing now. So first thing I want to do, and I also get another view up of like my TikTok live because I cannot tell how many people are here. So if you are here, please put something in the chat so that I know that you are here. That's one way for me to know whether this is working or not, okay? So for all of my visitors, please make sure you put either hello or greetings or how you're doing or something in the chat so that I know that people can actually see this. I'm most concerned about TikTok because I can't see what's going on TikTok. So if you are here and you can hear and see me, okay, please type something in the chat. Okay. Tell me how you found me. Did you find me on the FYP? Did you find me because you follow me? How did you end up here? All right. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading first to encourage you to go visit my TikTok shop. And after that, we're going to get started. So Breaking Point Chandler's Choice is book 2 in First Responder Fairy Tales. When I talk about First Responder Fairy Tales is not books because the main male character is a firefighter, but it's because all of the women are the main characters in my books are women in STEM. Okay, so our goal is to promote and profile women in STEM, women in science, technology, engineering, and math. They are Black women in STEM, so that's why I call them first responder fairy tales because STEM professionals are also first responders because they solve problems that plague a diverse and global world. And the best way for engineers to solve those problems is to have multidisciplinary, diverse engineering teams. So that's why we do that. So that's why I call them first responder fairy tales. It just so happens that in my first 3 books, the male main characters are firefighters and EMTs, but the women in those books are a nurse, a graduate student in robotics who is designing robots that are going to work with children to be tutors and to help with executive functioning. And then book 3, the female main character is going to be a math teacher. All right, so make sure you're liking, sharing, and commenting on the live. And also make sure that you are posting in the live. You're reposting the live and you're sharing and commenting so that we can make it out on the FYP. All right. I would love to go back to using Live Studio like I was using before, but it glitches out so much. I mean, it literally glitches out so much that I lose because I lose people because it keeps getting locked up. Okay. So if you are here, make sure you're checking out my TikTok shop. Make sure you are liking, sharing, and reposting. If you are on one of the other streaming platforms right now, make sure that you are also checking out my website where you can also go and purchase the children's books as well as my romance novels. I also have textbooks. Okay, Breaking Point, Chandler's Choice. Let's read a little bit. My Romance novels are $20. My paperback children's books are $15, and the hardcover are $25. They are available in the TikTok shop and everywhere that books are sold. So not just in the TikTok shop. Um, if you just do a search on the titles of the books or my name, they will come up in a lot of different places. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Breaking Point, Chandler's Choice. And I'm reading this romance because I've been doing a lot of reading of my children's books lately. Chandler Gray never imagined during her journey to earn a nursing degree, she would encounter a distraction in the form of a firefighter, Moses Lawson. With the chaos of supporting her mother after her father's passing and completing her internship practicum, Chandler had no time for a relationship. However, Moses' persistence, charisma, and rugged good looks made her think again. Perhaps a summer fling with no strings attached was just what the doctor ordered. Unfortunately, their ship became much more than she bargained for. Now Chandler wants Moses to switch things up to be in a committed relationship. So to be in a committed relationship and monogamous relationship. His response causes Chandler to react in ways she may come to regret. Years later, when their paths cross in a very different circumstance, Chandler will have another decision to make. Can she look beyond her own hurt to give up herself and heal another past their breaking point? This book is also available in Kindle Unlimited and Audible, as well as in paperback. Kindle Unlimited, Audible, and paperback. The TikTok shop, you can get the paperback. Everywhere else, you can get Kindle Unlimited and all those other forms. Okay, I will read a little bit more at our next break. We are now ready to get started on our first problem of the evening. Okay, and so we have been doing a lot of no voltage method, mesh current method, etc. So on this problem here, what I am going to do is I am going to, wait a minute, what happened there? Hold on, I was trying to fix the screen and the screen went crazy. Let me fix. Like, I don't know why you guys cannot see what I see right now. Okay. All right, where's my face? Why can't you see my face anymore? Ugga wugga wugga. Ugga wugga wugga. Make sure you're tapping the screen. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and reposting. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. How do I get my face back? How do I get my face back? Me don't get it. I don't get it. Where's my face? Where is my face? Okay, let me try a different screen now. Is that my face over there? Okay. What is going on here? Why is this so complicated, people? Why is this so complicated? Um, okay. Hold on, I'm almost ready, darling. I'm almost ready. I'm an engineer. I can figure this out. I'm an engineer. I can figure this out. Okay. I know I can figure this out. I just don't know why you guys can't see my face. It's driving me crazy. Um, I wonder if I'm gonna have to leave out and come back. I don't want to do that. I'm trying to stay on here, but I just don't think it's very engaging if you can't also see my face. So that's what I'm trying to fix right now. I'm trying to figure out why you can't see. It's not showing up. Okay. And if you're here, make sure you type something back so that I know you can hear and see me. Okay. I'm just going to leave it like that. I know this looks a little crazy, but this may be as good as we're going to get at this point. Okay. All right. So put something in the chat so I know you're there, so that I know that you can see and hear me. So if you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, if you're on the YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn, please type something so that I know you're there. Hi, Omar. Okay, Omar sent something, so I know that YouTube is working. I think Omar is on YouTube. All right, like the stream. I don't care what you post. Put a 1, a 2, a 3, a B, a C. Put something there so that I know it's working. Okay. I see Omar on YouTube. Can somebody on LinkedIn post something? Can somebody on Instagram post something so that I know it's working? Okay. I'm about to try Instagram myself. Hi, Claire. Okay, I saw Claire put a wave. Claire, I think I'm gonna do some complex numbers. How much you love those. I'm gonna do some J's and some I's, Claire. I'm gonna do some J's and some I's. Everything's going okay. Okay, let me go on and get started. I'm gonna try to do some problems. Okay. So, hi, Viral Trendist. Thank you. Thank you for coming back. Viral Trendist, I was so tired last night. I don't know if you could tell. But despite being completely exhausted, it went really, really well today. The girls had a good time. Um, okay, good. Hear that. Everything didn't work 100%. You forgot. Um, so everything didn't work 100%, but despite that, the girls had fun anyway. So let's try examples. So this is a DC circuits engineering problem. So if you're going to take the EIT, the FIE, or the PE, these are some great things that you can do as a mini review. If I tell you I want to do nodal analysis, Kirchhoff's current law, nodal analysis, or KCL, states that the sum of the currents into and out of a node is equal to 0. KCL states the sum of the currents into and out of a node equals 0. Okay. Another way of stating that is current in equals current out. So we're going to use that method to try to get all of the unknown voltages in the circuit here. Okay. This circuit has 4 nodes. This is going to be one of these problems where I'm probably going to end up making a matrix and going and putting this in some software. It has 4 unknown nodes, V1, V2, V3, and V4. And then this bottom node down here is ground. So what we want to do is we want to find the value for V1, V2, V3, V4. Okay. So we're looking for the values for V1, V2, V3, and V4. So first, I label the currents on V1. I have 3 amps coming in, and I have current going out through the 5 ohm and the 10 ohm resistor. So the current coming in from the 3 amps is going to equal the current going out through the 5 ohm resistor plus the current going out through the 10 ohm resistor. In order to write these equations, we're going to use Ohm's law. Ohm's law states that voltage equals current times resistance, or if I solve that for current, it states current equals over resistance. Current equals voltage over resistance. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to have the current coming in 3, the voltage across that resistor is higher potential to lower potential. So that's V1 minus V2 over 5 plus V1 over 10. So now I want to get rid of the fractions. I know no matter whether it's in a matrix or not, I'm not going to do the fractions. So I'm going to multiply by the least common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the left and right side of the circuit by 10. And when I multiply it by 10, I'm going to get that 30 equals 6V1. Sorry, 2V1. I am not as tired as last night, but I do still make mistakes. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So this is going to be 2V1 minus 2V2 plus V1. So I'm going to write that as 30 equals 3V1 minus 2V2. And that is our first circuit. So make sure that you are tapping. Make sure you are liking, reposting, and that you are also taking a look at my TikTok shop where you can see my children's books. So make sure you're tapping the screen to like, share, to repost, okay? Make sure you're doing all of the things to promote my TikTok shop where I have children's books, baby through 8 or 9 years old, all about robots and STEM. I also have romance novels, low heat, sweet contemporary romance. Low heat means high school plus. They are clean romance novels. They don't get too out of order. And I also have some textbooks. So if you just search my name, you can find some of that as well. Okay. So let's do a little bit of my children's book now. Remember, we take TikTok shop breaks. So during the TikTok shop breaks, I highly encourage you to go and visit the TikTok shop where we have free shipping on some of the items, $15 for backs, children's books, 25 children's books, $20 for the romance novels. Please go check out my STEM books in the TikTok shop, or if you are on one of the other streaming platforms, you can also check them out everywhere that books are sold, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Books A Million, and many other websites as well, okay? There are also some books pinned to my bio. Please go check those out. Okay. So now, this book would be great to gift to not only your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, but also any teachers in your life, any K-12 teachers who are looking to diversify the content in their classrooms. Okay, this camera is up so high. I'm going to sit up a little higher so you can see the book. Okay, let's see if this works better. I really want to use the computer camera, but the computer camera won't let me be great. I'm definitely only doing 2 hours tonight because all these tech issues are making me mad. Okay, there's a robot in my classroom. There's a robot in the classroom. It's a story of a 12-year-old boy named Miguel. Every day he played with the robot in his classroom. Then one day his teacher said, Miguel, all of the students will build robots of their own. Miguel had always been intrigued about those little guys, and this was his chance to have one. As I continue to read that book, we're going to see that Miguel is going to learn about all the parts of a robot as he uses his shoebox in order to build one. He's going to learn about all the parts of the robot as he uses his shoebox to build one. All right, tap the screen, tap the screen. Make sure you're sharing, liking, reposting, checking out the TikTok shop, or ideally going to my personal website as well. You can also visit my personal website and check out all of the books there. Okay. The other place where you can see some of these things I am putting in here. Okay. If you also want to go to my personal website to check out the romance novels, you can do that at carlottaardale.com. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see some of what I'm typing in the chat right now. Like I said, I am not used to being on all these different platforms. And so because of that, these things may not go the way I think they should. But please be patient with me as I try to get it all worked out. Okay. All right. So now back to the problem we were doing. So we had just done Kirchhoff's current law. So now we are going to do Kirchhoff's current law at the second node. So I'm going to change colors so it makes it easy for you to track what I'm doing here. So if you come over here, I'm now going to go to node 2. I'll change the color to blue. And so at node 2, you're going to have the current coming in from the 5 ohms equals the current going out through the 8 ohm. Uh-oh, that's not blue. The current going out through the 8 ohm, the current going out through the 1 ohm, and the current going out through the 2 amps. So for this second equation, I'm going to have that the current that comes in from that 5 ohm resistor equals the current that goes out through the 1 amp resistor plus the current that goes out through the 8 ohm resistor plus the current that goes out through the 1 ohm resistor plus the current that goes out through the 2 amp resistor. Now I'm going to use Kirchhoff's current law. I'm going to use Kirchhoff's current law in order to write those equations. So what I'm going to have here is that the current from the 5 ohm resistor is V1 minus V2 over 5. V1 minus V2 over 5. That equals 1 amp for the current through the 1 amp resistor plus V minus V3 over 8. That's the current through using Ohm's law. The current through the 1 ohm resistor is V2 minus V4 over 1 plus 2 amps. So once again, I don't want to deal with fractions. So the way to get rid of the fractions is to multiply by the least common denominator of all those terms. So if I have a 5, an 8, and a 1, the least common denominator is going to be 40. So I'm going to multiply the left and right side of that equation by 40. When I multiply by 40 over here, I'm going to have 40 divided by 5 is 8. So this is going to be 8V1 minus 8V2 equals 40. 40 divided by 8 is 5 plus 5V2 minus 5V3 plus 40V2 minus 40V4 plus 80. Okay, now we want to collect like terms. We want to collect like terms. So I'm going to put all of my V1s together, and the only V1 I have is 8V1. After that, I'm now going to put all of my V2s together. So I'm going to have minus 8 minus 5, that's minus 13 minus 40. Minus 8 minus 5 is minus 13 minus 40. So that would be minus 53 V2. Now let's do our V3s. So I have minus 5 V3, and that is actually my only V3. So over here, that becomes plus 5 V3. Then for V4, I'm going to have plus 40 V4, plus 40 V4. Remember me making a mistake since I'm talking, writing, and producing the live all at the same time? So the chances of me actually making a mistake are pretty high. Please make sure that you are trying out my rose gift. You're on TikTok Live. Remember, one way to get on the FB is for you to send me one of our live gifts. My live gifts are the roses. My other live goal is to get to 25,000 followers in the next 7 days by the 31st of January. Okay? So please make sure you are working on all of those things. If you are here, greetings, everyone who has checked in. Okay, so now let's figure out the constant is going to be 40 plus 80, so that's going to equal 120. So as usual, I'm running out of room. So this was my second equation. Up here, this was my equation. And now I need to do KCL at nodes V3 and V4, but I'm out of room. So I am going to come down here and I am going to insert a new page. I need to insert 2 new pages. So let's do that first, okay? So I'm gonna come over here and I'm going to insert 2 new pages because it's probably gonna be 2 pages because remember, also going to make a law of conservation of energy table, which states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only transferred. So I used the law of conservation of energy along with KCL and KVL to confirm that I had not made any mistakes. So although I probably have, because I don't do these problems in advance, and I am just working on solving them in order to help you to refresh for the EIT, for the MCAT. Thank you, my dog can do something. I appreciate you. Make sure you guys are helping with our live goals, with our heart me's, with our Go Populars, with our You're Awesome. Thank you, everyone. So now we're going to do KCL at node 3. We're now going to do KCL at node 3. So if I go up here to V3, I'm going to change to color green so we can track what I'm doing here. Node 3, the 8 ohms comes in, and I'm going to have 8 ohm current leaving through that 8 and 4 ohm current leaving there. So I'm going to have the current coming in from the 8 ohm resistor to the left is going to equal the current going out through the 8 ohm resistor to the right, plus the current going out through the 4 ohm resistor at the bottom. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and commenting. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Now what we're going to do is the current coming in from the 8 ohm resistor is V2 minus V3, V2 minus V3 over 8. V2 minus V3 over 8. The current going out through the 8 ohm resistor on the right is going to be V3 minus V4 over 8. V3 minus V4 over 8. Normally, I would solve this in Maple and share my screen on TikTok. That's normally what I do. But because I have no idea how to make that work in Restream, I probably won't do it. It's kind of like the pros and the cons. I do it all in TikTok Live Studio, and it works great for the features, but it keeps crashing, and it's like crashing constantly, or especially since it's snowing here right now. Or alternately, I do it in Restream where it won't crash, but now I have all these different windows and all these different options, and I'm not totally sure how to do everything, whereas I do know how to do it all when I am inside of TikTok Live Studio. So that means we got multiple things happening here. And if you are here visiting and watching, make sure you're tapping the screen, liking to get our engagement up. If not, I'm coming to do it through my stalker account just to make sure. Okay. After we get all the equations done, I'm going to take a small book reading break. So now the current in the 4 ohm resistor is V3 over 4. V3 over 4. So once again, I multiply by the least common denominator, least common multiple of the denominator in order to do the fractions. So for this problem, that's going to be 8. So I'm going to multiply the left and right side by 8. Okay. And when I do that, I'm going to have V2 minus V3 equals V3 minus V4 plus V3. Now I'm going to collect like terms, and notice there's no constants. So it's going to be equal 0 on the right. Thank you for tapping the screen. Thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Thank you for helping me to reach fire level on the daily ranking. I have no idea what that means, but we will take it. Okay. So now I'm going to have V2 minus 2V3. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry. Is that right? Nope. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, negative 4V3. It's going to be negative 4V3. Negative 4V3 plus V4 equals 0. Let me check that one again and make sure that's right. V2 minus V3 equals V3 minus V4 plus V3 over 4. When I multiply by 8, I'm going to have V2 minus V3 equals V3 minus V4 plus 2V3. So I'm going to have V2 minus 1 minus 1 minus 2. That's minus 4V3 plus V4 equals 0. That's our third equation. So now our fourth equation is going to be KCL at V4. Our fourth equation is going to be KCL at V4. I'm going to make this one red. So KCL at V4, we're going to have the current coming in from the 2 amp, the current coming in from the 1 amp, the current coming in from the 8 amp, the current coming in from the other 4 amp equals the current going out to the 2 ohm, okay? Current coming in from the 2 amp and the 4 amp. Hi, math tutor, how are you doing? Greetings, greetings. I won't be long for a long time because I did a lot of events today with kids. I did 5 robots with 5th through 8th grade girls at Girls in STEAM conference today from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I now know I could not have hacked it as a high school or middle school math teacher. And I also knew that I am a little exhausted. I've committed to doing STEAM Saturday and STEAM Sunday, even if I don't do my Thursday and Fridays. Because sometimes when I'm coming from work, I need to get some rest. Okay. In fact, that's what happened on Thursday. I didn't go live because I needed some rest. So I'll say my nights to go live are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That doesn't mean I'm always going to go live on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right. So once again, let's go and take a look at KCL at V4. We had the current from the 2 amp, the current from the 4 amp, the current from the 2 amp, the current from the 4 amp, and the current from the 8 ohm. Okay. Current from the 2 amp, the current from the 4 amp, and the current from the 8 ohm. These are all going into the node. So this is plus, plus, and plus. These are all going into the node. So this is plus, plus, and plus. Make sure you're helping us with our live goal. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and comment. How about some daily heart me's? Make sure you're also checking out the TikTok shop. Make sure you're also checking out the TikTok shop. Okay, I don't know why TikTok is doing this. Okay. Let me try to zoom this a little bit. See if that helps some. Yes, I am my own producer, so I am doing some producer jobs right now. Trying to make this look a little better if I can. All right. Okay. Let me open this back up. Okay. Let's make sure you're okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do, we're almost at the end of my first hour. Remember, we're almost at the end of the first hour. So make sure you're tapping the screen. Make sure you are liking, sharing, and commenting on the live. So you're helping with engagement. All right. So let's go back to doing KCL at node 4. KCL at node 4. So we got the current coming in from the 2 amp, the current coming in from the 4 amp, the current coming in from the 8 ohm. And finally, we're going to have current coming in from a 1 ohm resistor and then current going out from the 2 ohm resistor. Okay. We also have current coming in from the 1 ohm resistor and current going out from the 2 ohm resistor. So the current sources are just 2 plus 4. Okay. Plus current coming in from the 8 ohm resistor would be V3, V4 over 8. 3 minus 4 over 8. Then we're going to have the current coming in from the 1 ohm resistor. That's going to be 2 minus V4 over 1. V2 minus V4 1. All right. V2 minus V4 over 1. And then finally, we're going to have current that goes out through the 2 ohm resistor. So if I go back up here one more time, the current that goes out through the 2 ohm resistor is 4 minus 0 over 2. In the chat, V4 minus 0 over 2. I have an 8, a 1, and a 2 in the denominator of this equation. I have an 8, a 1, and a 2 in the denominator of this equation. If I want to multiply the thank you, Jeanette. If I want to multiply the left and right side of the equation by the least common multiple of 8, 1, and 10 in order to get rid of the fraction, should I multiply the left and right equations by 8, 16, 2, or 4? I want everyone to put an 8, 16, 2, or 4 in the chat. 8, 16, 2, or 4 in the chat. 8, 16, 2, or 4. I want to multiply by something to get rid of the fractions. In the chat, I want you to type an 8, 16, 2, or 4. What should I multiply both sides of this equation by in order to get rid of the fraction? Remember, make sure you are tapping the screen, sharing the live, liking the live, sending the live goals of 1 rose in order to help keep me on the FYP. Okay. So make sure you are helping with the roses to get us out on the FYP. I'm going to check the chat. Yes, anyone put a number yet? 8, 16, 2, or 4. 8, 16, 2, or 4. I'm checking all the chats and I don't see any numbers. 8, 16, 2, or 4. What should I multiply by to get rid of the fraction? 8, 16, 2, or 4. Okay. Anybody want to take a guess? 2, 1, and 8. The least common multiple would be 8. That would be 8. So if I multiply the left and right side of the equation by 8, then this is going to be 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 times 8 is 48. 8 divided by 8 is 1. So it's going to be plus V3 minus V4. 8 divided by 1 is 8. So that's going to be 8 V2 minus 8 V4. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. So it's going to be 4 V4. Okay, remember this is 0. Okay, so let's collect like terms here. All the constants together. So I'm going to have it equals 48. But over here, I'm going to have minus V3 minus 8V2. And then I'm going to have minus 1 minus 8, that's negative 9. So negative 9V4, but then 9 plus 4. Good evening, Steph. How are you? It's so good to see you. Steph, I was just telling the chat that I was doing STEM and robotics events all day today with girls. That's why we had to postpone our meeting. 5th through 8th grade girls. They were amazing, but they wore me out. They wore me out. So we are about to finish my first hour on the live stream. And I'm definitely not going over 2 hours today. It's just not humanly possible. It's just not gonna happen. Yeah, they were great. I love being with them, but I can't do it. I can't do it. So I started at 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's almost 10 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm gonna go 1 more hour, and then we're gonna stop there. So if you're just joining in, please make sure you tapping on the screen. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and reposting the live. So now that we have our 4 equations and 4 unknowns, our next step is going to be to solve this. But before we do that, I am going to pull out another one of my books. So now that I have 11 total, yes, I said 11 total children's books. 10 of them are available in the TikTok shop. Book 11, The illustrations were finished today. So book 11 is not in the TikTok shop yet. I am going to have several children's coloring books based upon the illustrations in the books because I always talk about how I get so many compliments on the illustrations. So here's one of my first children's book. It's called There's a Robot, Coloring Inspirations Book 1. So the first 4 books I ever wrote in my children's book series had the same characters. So there is Malachi, Malika, Maria, and Miguel, who I just read about Miguel. So then if you look at the back, there's the covers for each of those books. There's a robot in my closet. There's a robot in my classroom. There's a robot at my after school. There's a robot at my summer camp. So Maria and Opportunity are at the summer camp. Miguel and Perseverance are in the classroom. Malika and Rovi are the robot from her closet. And then Malachi, of course, just because I brain fart, I can't remember the name of Malachi's robot. But when I first started, maybe Perseverance or Spirit, I named most of the robots after the Mars rovers, which actually is really good because today when I was talking to the girls about robots and making them autonomous and remote control, etc., they did not know that the Mars rovers actually had names. So I tell them, in my books we talk about Rovi, Spirit, Opportunity, Perseverance, Curiosity, etc., and that all the robots have names. Okay, so if you open up the coloring book, and I believe this is $11 in the TikTok shop, but you can also find it anywhere where books are sold. So it has most of the illustrations from the book, and it normally will have some little statement at the bottom like brainstorming. How do I fix my robot? What if my robot makes me sad? And so it's a great way to color while also making connections to the actual book and also discussions about STEM. So please also check out their colorations book 1, now of TikTok shop. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is I am going to put all of these equations together and try to solve them. Like I had mentioned earlier, typically I would do this in Maple, but because I'm not completely sure how to make another screen inside of Restream like I would in Live Studio, I am just going to put all the equations down here, and we're going to do a little bit of brute force substitution. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So there's equation 4. This is equation 3. And now we get equation 1, equation 2. Okay, there's equation 4. There's equation 3. Come back up here. All right, here, equation 2. Oops, I think I got out of order. This is equation 1. Okay. So I got 4. Oh, sorry, that was actually 2 and 1 that I just pasted. So there's equations 2 and 1. Okay. So let's fix that. This is actually equation 2. This is equation 1. And also that I'm moving. This makes everything one problem, and then solving this one problem will be the entire life because we did start with a 4 equation for unknown problem. Okay, so we got equation 2, equation 1, and then here is going to be equation 3. So I'm going to copy this one next. So when you use the substitution method to solve problems, what you're trying to do is find a variable that has the same coefficient as that same variable in another equation, or alternately, what you can do is you can multiply them by something in order to get them to cancel out. So if we take a look here, what you're going to is I have V minus V3 plus V4. All right, equation 1. This is equation 3 down here. All right, let's see what variables we can cancel out here. And like I said, I normally would do this in my calculator, or I would do this in Maple or something by hand. But because it's not easy for me to figure out how to project that, I think it's easier for us to just do it. All right, let's see what would be a good variable to cancel out. 3v1 minus 2v equals 30. Let me make sure the constants are on the right for all of these. So equals 30 over here. Equals 30. So this equation here only has v1 and v2, okay? Notice that equation three v1 minus v2 equals 30. Equation 1 only has v1 and v2. So I think that makes it a good candidate for solving at the end. So that means I want to get v3 and v4 to cancel out in those other two equations. So what you're going to see here is if equation 2 is 8v1 minus 53v2 plus 5v plus 40v4 equals 120. I'm now going to multiply equation 3 by 40, and I'm going to have 40v2 minus 160v3 plus 40v4 equals 0. And so now what I want you to see is I can subtract those two equations and get rid of 40v4. I'm going to subtract those equations and get rid of 40v4. So I'm going to have 8v minus 93v2. 5 minus negative 6 is plus 165v3, and that equals 120. This is now my fifth equation, okay? That is now my fifth equation that only has v1, v2, and v3. That's my fifth equation that only has v1, v2, and v3 in it, okay? So I now have that. I have equation 1, which has 3v1 minus 2v2 equals 30. And then I have minus 4v3 plus v4 equals 0, okay? So what I'm going to do is I need to find a way to get rid of what variable was. I need to find a way to get rid of v4 in equation 4. So now I'm going to come down here and calculate equation 4. And equation 4 is going to be minus 8 minus v3 plus 13v4 equals 48. Minus 8 minus v3 plus 13v4 equals 48. I'm now going to multiply equation 3 by 13. So I'm going to 13v2 minus 4 times 13 is 52v3 plus 13 or 0. Okay. And when I subtract those, it's going to be equation 6. 8 minus 13 is negative 51v2. Negative v2 is plus 51v3. And 13 minus 13 is 0. That equals 48. So now I'm going to have three equations and three unknowns. My three equations and my three unknowns are now equation 5, equation 6, and equation 1. I'm going to have equation 5, equation 6, and equation 1, where equation 1 is 3v1 minus 2v2 equals 40, okay? So now I want to take equations 5 and 6 and cancel out v3. I want to take equations 5 and 6 and cancel out V3, okay? So I need to figure out what 51 divided by 165 is. I think this is going to be an easy number. So let's see what we're going to do here. If I want, oh, V3, 51. Okay, so I'm going to multiply equation 5 by 1. I'm going to multiply equation 5 by 51. And then copy equation 6 down here. So equation 6 is negative 21V2 plus 51V3 equals 48. Okay? And then for equation 5, I multiply by 51. Wait a minute, is that right? No, I don't think it is. We have to do this with 5 and 6. And 5 has 165 degrees. Hold on. Linear signal systems. Yes, anchor. So I want you to go here and I want you to do a search on ECE 300 signals and systems, okay? ECE 300 signals and systems. So that's another class that I teach. All right. So what we're going to do here, I don't think we put the YouTubes in here. Hold on. I don't think like paste HTTPs and stuff. So you have to figure out exactly what I'm typing there. And remember, please go check out my TikTok shop and see if there's any children's books or romance novels that you can bless somebody or yourself with. Please go check out STEM in the TikTok shop. Okay. So what we're going to do here is why won't it let me put my comments? Hold on. Hold on. Let me try to do it inside my phone. There we go. All right. So now the next thing we want to do is I got to figure out, I said I wanted the V3s to cancel out in 5 and 6. But I'm now debating if it might be easier to get something else to cancel out. I already have a V1 in 5. I think we're just going to have to do it. Okay. So what I'm going to have is, if I get V3 to cancel out, I need the second one to have 165, and I need the first one to have, just copy the numbers down. So up here, I'm going to have, thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting. Make sure you tap on the screen. Make sure you tap on the screen. So up here, what we're going to have is 8V1 minus 93V2 plus 165V3 equals 120. Down here, I'm going to multiply this by 165 over 51. I'm going to leave it as fractions because I don't really care what it is. I'm going to multiply by 165 over 51. And when I do, equation is going to become 165 over 51 times negative 21V2 plus 165 over 51 times 51 is just going to be 165 V3. Let me get my face back up. So hold on. Let me figure what's going on here. So many technical difficulties. I mean, really, really, really. Why so many technical difficulties? All right. I think we're back now. Okay, so I'm gonna have HB1, and then I'm gonna have negative 93, negative 93 minus 165 times 21 divided by 51. So when you subtract that, this can become negative 93 plus that. So I'm going to do minus 93, and we are going to have 8b1 plus 67.9442. That ends up canceling out. So then over here, I have 120 minus 165 times 48 divided by 51. And that is negative 35.3. All right, we are finally there. So I have equation 1 that has V1 and V2, and I have equation 7 that has V1 and V2. So this is 3V1 minus 2V2 equals 40. Okay. There are so many places where this could have possibly gone wrong. So we need to be absolutely prepared at the end that this does not work. So what I'm going to do now, so I'm going to multiply the second equation by negative 8. Multiply the second equation by negative. And multiply this first equation by 3. So I'm going to have 24 V1 plus, I'm just going to do 3 times 68 for some rounding. 3 times 68 is 204 plus 204 V2 equals negative 35 times 3, which is negative 105. Then down here, I'm going to multiply this equation by negative 8. So that's going to be negative 24 V1 plus 16 equals negative 320. So negative 24 V1 plus 16 V2 minus 320. And now when I add this together, I'm going to have that 220 V2 equals negative 425. 220 V2 equals negative 425. So now that will give you, and V2 is going to be a negative, and it's going to be 425 divided by 220, and that is 1.93 volts. Yes, we are rounding, okay? We're just trying to see, can we even get in the ballpark of the right answer? So that's negative 1.93 volts. And then if I come back up here, I'm going to get that V2 can be found from this equation. V1, sorry, so you're going to have that 3V1 equals 40 plus 2V2, and I'll divide that by 3. V1 equals 40 plus 2V2 divided by 3. So this is going to be 40 plus 2 times 1.93 negative 1.93. And then I'm going to divide that by 3. That is 12. So that is going to be 12. So V1 is 12 volts. Okay. And then we're going to use V1 and V2 to get V3. Okay. So then if you come up here to equation 6, what you're going to see is that 48, that V3 equals 48 plus 21 V2 divided by 51. So V3 equals 48 plus 21 V2 is going to be 48 plus 21 times 1.93 negative divided by 51. 0.146. So V3 is 0.146. So now we have V1, V2, and V3, and V4. So I can use this equation to get V4. So V4 is negative V2 plus 4V3. V4 equals negative V2 plus 4V3. So V4 is equal to 1.93 plus 4 times 0.146. 4 times 0.146. And that's 2.5 volts. Okay, I think what I want to do, because I don't trust this enough to make a table, I think we need to figure out how to use Maple, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Maple. I'm not even going to bother with the table. This was so complicated that I am afraid that if I go put this in Maple, it's not going to balance, and we're going to do this forever trying to find the mistake. So I'm just going to figure out how to share my Maple screen, and so that's going to just have to be the next task. Okay. So I have now been live for 1 hour and 20 minutes. We have 40 minutes left on the live stream. So we are going to check our math on this equation, and then we're going to move on to another problem. If I can get the Maple up and working in the next 2 to 3 minutes, I will show you how I would do this in Maple. You could also do it in MATLAB. You could do it in your calculator. There are many different software. You can put it in Wolfram Alpha. You maybe can put it in your ChatGPT, AI, Gemini, whatever. But we are going to try to share the Maple screen and see if I can figure out how to solve this system of equations. So let's see if I can switch this out. Um, let's see here. All right, wasn't too horrible. Okay, so here's the Maple. I'm checking the TikTok stream and the Instagram stream to see if, okay, looks good there. Instagram. Okay, all right. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I am going to put equation 1 here is equal to 3, which equals V1 minus V2 divided by 5. Let me try to zoom in on this photo. I don't think you can actually see it. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. And I also want to close this. So 3 equals V1 minus V2 divided by 5 plus V1 over 10. Okay. Okay. Equation 2 is equal to V1. Notice I don't even do the simplification. I let the software do all of that because any of those points along this analysis, I could have made a mistake. So I'm writing down the original equation straight from the Kirchhoff's current law. Okay, so the second equation is V1 minus V2 divided by 5 equals 1 plus V2 minus V3 over 8 plus V2 minus V4 over 1 plus 2. Okay, there's equation 2. Now we're going to do the same thing with equation 3. So equation 3, let me zoom this out a little bit. Equation 3 is equal to V2 minus V3 over 8 plus V3 minus V4 divided by 8 plus V3 over 4. Okay, I missed the minus. It's actually V2 minus V3 8 equals V3 minus V4 over 8 plus V3 over 4. Okay, 4 equations are known. We have 3 of the equations so far. So now we are going back to do our fourth equation. So when we go to the fourth equation, that one is going to be, check out my amazing STEM books in the TikTok shop. Are you helping me achieve my life goals by sending some heart me's, Check out my amazing STEM books in my TikTok shop. Okay. All right. Let's go. So then the fourth equation is equal to 2 plus 4 plus V3 minus V4 divided by 8 plus V2 minus V4 divided by 1. And that equals V4 over 2. Okay. Can you help me achieve my heartbeat goals? Can you help me achieve my heartbeat goals, please? My roses, I also have some roses there. I have 1 rose. Can you help me achieve those goals? Have you been to the TikTok shop? All right. Thank you for sharing, liking, and commenting. All right. Okay, so now we have 4 equations for unknowns. I'm going to solve equation 1, equation 2, equation 3, and equation 4. Yes, sometimes in know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me now. I'm trying to switch things up. Let me know if you can hear me. Uh, testing, 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 testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, thank you, Steph. Thank you. I don't know what happened. So many technical difficulties tonight. So many. So very, very many technical difficulties. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is, like I said, I will save this problem for later. I will come back and revisit it. I will post the solution to my TikTok playlist. But I am done with this problem for now. So now we're going to do a couple of more problems. And after that, we are going to be done for the evening. Because like I told you guys earlier, those kids today wore me out. They were sweet though. They were they were not bad kids at all. I have done some events where the kids were not good kids. But that was not my babies today. My babies today were very, very sweet. They were very engaged. They were very excited. It was just a lot of them. Like I said, I did 5 sessions between 9 and 3, and the number of kids in each session varied between 5 and about 12 or 13. And so I do not envy K through 12 teachers at all, because even with good, respectful kids, repeating yourself, saying the same presentation 5 times, and just being on and engaging all that time is literally exhausting. Okay. Even with the most well-behaved babies, it is exhausting. Okay. So we're going to try to get through about 2 more problems, and that's where we're going to stop this evening. But like I said, I will be back tomorrow for STEAM Sunday. I need to do a final project write up for my mobile robotics class. And we have a camera on that robot that I have been trying to get working for a few years now that I want to do for the final project. So tomorrow I may end up working on the camera. It's called the Husky Lens camera. It's right here. So we want to try to get this camera working on the mobile robot. And if I can get it to work, then they can do face tracking, color tracking, robot tracking, robot communication, whatever. So tomorrow I'm going to try to get this camera working. And I'm also going to write up their final project. And I may also work on some of my other STEM robot stuff that I need for my book. So that's what I want to try to do tomorrow, if at all possible. So for STEAM Sunday. All right, so for this problem, a lot easier. This problem has 4 nodes. Remember, a node is the meeting point of circuit elements. So this circuit has 4 nodes, where this bottom node is actually ground, okay? The bottom node is ground, or the reference node, which is 0 volts. And then up here is node 1, node 2, and node 3. This is actually a current-controlled current source. So the book that I got this from made a mistake, because we know that dependent sources should be a diamond. So that 4ix should have been a diamond, not a circle. Circles are for independent sources, voltage sources, and current sources. Diamonds are for current control, etc. So what we're going to have here is we're going to do KCL. The sum of the currents into and out of a node is equal to 0. And we also call that nodal analysis. So starting with V1, the current into that node is equal to 10. The current out of that node is V1 minus V2 over 3 plus V1 minus V3 over 2. So once again, if I want to get rid of the fractions, I'm going to multiply by the least common multiple between 3 and 2, which is 6. So I'm going to have 60 equals 2V1 minus 2V2 plus 3V1 minus 3V3. So when I collect like terms, I'm going to have 60 is equal to 5V1 minus 2V2 minus 3V3. If you have any questions, please put your questions in the chat. I am able to monitor the TikTok chat, the YouTube chat, and the Instagram chat simultaneously. Um, I have no idea what's going on the LinkedIn chat though, because I've only got two eyes and I can only look at so many things at once. Oh, Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy. Jeremy's here from Black and Robotics. I am so sorry, Jeremy. I just noticed this. Um, Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy. So I was just saying I can monitor three chats at the same time, as I didn't realize I was not monitoring the YouTube chat. And there was a comment in there. I still have no idea what made my sound glitch out. I still have no idea what made that happen. All right, so now what we're going to do next is I'm going to do KCL at node 2. So I'm going to change colors. I'm going to change to green, and I'm going to do KCL at node 2. So for node 2, the current coming into that node is going to be V1 minus V2 over 3 plus 4IX, and the current going out of that node is going to be V2 over 4. So notice that IX is equal to V2 over 4 because IX is the current through that 4 ohm resistor. So in order to get rid of another unknown, I'm going to go ahead right now and replace IX with V2 over 4. So I'm going to have V1 minus V2 over 3 plus 4V2 over 4 is just going to be V2. Okay, 4 times V2 over 4 is just V2, and that equals V2 over 4. So the least common multiple between 3 and 4 is 12, So when I multiply both sides by 12, I'm going to have 4V1 minus 4V2 plus 12V2 equals 3. So what we did is V1 minus V2 over 3 plus 4IX equals V2 over 4. But we know that the constraint is that IX is V2 over 4. So we have V1 minus V2 over 3 plus 4 times V2 over 4, which is just V2, and that equals V2 over 4. Then we multiply by 12. When we multiply by 12, we got 4V1 minus 4V2 plus 12V2 equals 3V2. I forgot to write the V2 there. So now collecting like terms, I'm going to have 4 V1. 12 minus 4 is 8. 8 minus 3 is 5. Plus 5, 2 equals 0. So I now have two equations, but I have three unknowns. So our last equation is going to be KCL at V3. KCL at V3, which I'm going to put down here. Oh, I ran out of pages again, like always. I write just absolutely too big. We all know that I write too big. Can you send me some roses? Can you tap, tap, tap the screen? Thank you for coming to hang out. Tap, 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 tap. Are you liking, sharing, reposting? Have you been to visit my TikTok shop? Have you been to visit my TikTok shop? Have you gotten something for either yourself or a family member or friend or Pookie and them down the street? They need children's books too. Them bad children at church. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go down to, oh, I needed to insert a page. That's what I was going to do. I was about to insert a page and I got distracted. All right. So I'm going to come over here. And I am going to insert a page here. And then I'm going to close this. All right. So KCL at V3 is going to be the current out through 4IX, the current out through 6 ohm resistor, V3 over 6, plus the current out through the 2 ohm, which is V3 minus V1 over 2. and that equals 0. Out plus out plus out equals 0. Out plus out equals 0. But we know that 4ix is the same as V2 over 4. So this is going to be V2 plus V3 over 6 plus V3 minus V1 over 2. That equals 0. The least common multiple between those denominators is a 6. So this is going to be 6 V2 plus V3 plus 3 V3 minus 3 V1 equals 0. When I collect like terms, we're going to have minus 3 V1 plus 6 V2 plus 7, nope, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 10 V3 equals 0. Plus 10 V3 equals 0, okay? And now that we know we can get Maple working, I am not about to torture myself with this again. We're about to put this bad boy in Maple and solve for V1, V2, and V3. And if we think those numbers look halfway reasonable, we will make our law of conservation of energy table. Okay, but I've got the blue circle of death for a second. So let's see if the computer comes back before I go to Maple, because I'm not sure why saving the screen gave me a blue circle of death. But let's do a little trivia while we're waiting on, since Jeremy is here, I want to do some robot trivia. What was the name of Jeremy? This may be a Jeremy question because Jeremy said they're from Black in Robotics, so they're a member of that community, as am I. Some trivia while I lose. Oh, it's back. Okay. I'm still. What was the name of the first AI robot created at Carnegie Mellon in the 70s? What was the name of the first AI, artificial intelligence robot, that was created at Carnegie Mellon in the 70s? And Jeremy doesn't have to be the only one that answers. If anyone on Instagram or TikTok knows the answer, you can answer as well. The name of the first artificial intelligence robot created at Carnegie Mellon in the 70s, okay? That's your trivia question while I finish this problem. Okay, so I'm going to have minus 3v1 plus 6v2 plus 4v3 equals 0. Okay, and like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go now over to Maple to solve, because now that I know how to share the screen to get to Maple, I'm not doing this by hand. So let's go and check that out next. Okay. All right. So just like before, we are going to make the equations first. And so I'm going to have the equation 1. Restart just means don't remember anything that I did before. So I'm going to have the equation 1 is equal to 10 equals V1 minus V2 divided by 3 plus V1 minus V3 divided by 2. Okay, then we're going to have equation 2. Equation 2 is going to equal V1 minus V2, capital V, minus V2 divided by 3 plus V2 equals V2 divided by 4. And equation 3 is going to equal V2 plus V3 over 6 plus V3 minus V1 divided by 2, and that equals 0, okay? So there are 3 equations and 3 unknowns. There are 3 equations and 3 unknowns. So then, just like last time, what we're going to do is we're going to solve for equation 1, 2, and 3, but let me make sure they're right first. 10 equals V1 minus V2 over 3 plus V1 minus V3 over 2. Yes. Down here, V1 minus V2 over 3 plus V2 equals V2 over 4. Yes. Down here, we're going to have V2 plus V3 over 6 plus V3 minus V1 over 2 equals 0. Okay, so I'm going to do solve. Equation 1, equation 2, equation 3. Uh-oh. What happened? . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Sorry, I don't know what that was. Okay, so now we are going to put this here. All right, that's looking pretty good. And they're all integers. Integers don't always happen, but when the answers come out to be integers, we can almost guarantee those are actually the correct answers. So I'm going to problem up, and this is where we're going to stop this evening. For this problem, this is where we're going to end. Okay. Okay, so I'm going back to here. And we got numbers that make sense. So we're going to roll with them. And what we're going to have is that V1 is equal to 80 volts. V2 is equal to negative 64 volts. And V3 is 156 volts. And Ix was equal to V2 over 4. So Ix is equal to negative 16 amps. That's current, so that's amps. Negative 16 amps. Negative 16 amps, okay? Can we try to get to 25,000 likes by the time we hop off in 13 minutes? Remember, likes are free. Thank you, Steph, for helping me with the Rose Gallery. Thank you so much. Remember, likes are free. Likes are free. They're not even a penny. They're just free. Can you help me get to 25,000 likes before we hop off? Can you help me get to 25,000 likes before we hop off, please? Have you been to my TikTok shop to check out my STEM books? Have you done all the things that keep us on the FYP and all the things that keep visitors coming to see us? When I go live tomorrow, I'm going to try to go back to live studio. Like I said, I do like live studio better. I absolutely do. I just hate how much the internet glitches when I'm on there. It's so hard maintaining 3 or 4 different windows at the same time. I'm doing it because it's the only way to make sure nothing crashes. But man, is this overwhelming trying to keep up with all of this at the same time. It is definitely not for the weak, darlings. It is definitely not for the weak. So make sure you're checking out the TikTok shop. Make sure you're checking out my children's books. I'm putting stamps for on some of the children's books in the chat. You can also, so you can actually see those. If you are on any of the other streaming platforms other than TikTok, you can check out my books on NoireSTEMinist.com, on drcarlottaberry.com, on carlottaardell.com, or you could just go to my name and the books will come up. Okay. Books available everywhere that they are sold. I appreciate your support. So the law of conservation of energy states that energy can be created, destroyed, or transferred. So another way of saying that is power delivered equals power absorbed. Power delivered equals power absorbed. So the last thing we're going to do to check our work is we're going to make a table. First column is the element. Then we're going to have a column for the voltage. We're going to have a column for the current. And we're going to have a column for the power. Okay. If this all works out, then the power delivered by the sources is going to equal the power absorbed by the rest of the elements. Okay. So I may have my students do this in class so that they can check their work. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to write down all the elements on the circuit. And then based upon those elements, we are going to sum voltage and current in order to get power. Remember, the formulas that we can use to get power are the following. Okay. Hold on. The screen is locked up for a second. I don't know why. Let's see if it comes back. Why are you locked up, bud? Why are you locked up right now? All right. Can you help us with our goal? 25,000 time we log off in 10 minutes? Tap, tap, tap the screen. Tap, tap, tap the screen. Are you tap, tap, tapping? Are you tap, 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 tapping? Okay. Remember, if you can't do anything else, you can tap the screen. Even if you can't do the penny gold, because we understand in this economy, you maybe cannot. Reshares are free. Reposts are free. Likes are free. Let's do all the things that are free. Posts are free. Likes are free. Free shares are free. Okay, if you can't do anything else, you can tap the screen. We are well on our way to 20,000. Keep hunting. We are on the hunt. We are well on our way to 20,000. Tap, 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 tap. Okay. All right. So our elements on here. So our elements are, I do the sources first, 10 amps and 4ix. The sources are 10 amps and 4ix. 10 amps and 4ix. Those are my two sources. My resistors, my resistors are 2, 3, 4, and 6 ohms. 2, 3, 4, and 6 ohms. 2, 3, 4, and 6 ohms. 2 ohms. And then we have 4 ohms and 6 ohms. 4 ohms and 6 ohms. Okay. And remember, to find power, we use P equals V times I. P equals I squared R for a resistor, or P equals V squared over R. Those are all the formulas we use to find power. So we have here that the 10 amp source has 10 amps flowing through it. And for VIX, that has 64 amps flowing through it, okay? So the 10 amp source is attached to V1. So the voltage for the 10 amp source is 80 volts, so it delivers negative 800 watts. It delivers negative 800 watts. V2 and V3 are 156 minus 64. So this is 156 minus negative 64. So that's higher potential to lower potential. Let me make sure that's right. 156 minus negative 64. So since V3 is 156 and V2 is negative 64, the higher potential is actually on the left. So this is actually absorbing power. And what it's absorbing is 156 minus 64. So that's 156 plus 64. 220 times 64. 220 times 64. Oh, no. Sorry, that's not right. It is delivering power because that current is negative, so it's really flowing the other way. 220 times 64 is 14,080 watts. Well, okay, we finally broke 20,000. Can we break 25,000? 14,080 watts. So that's actually delivering as well. Remember, I put a minus sign for delivering, and I put a plus sign for absorbing. Resistors cannot absorb power, cannot deliver power. So I know all the resistors are absorbing power. So let's go back and see what we have here. We have the 2 ohm resistor. Let's put the numbers on here. That'll make it easier for us. The 2 ohm resistor is between 80 volts here and 156 volts here. So 80 volts, 156, and then V2 is negative 64 volts. So that means higher potential on the bottom, negative on the top. So the 4 ohm resistor has 64 volts and 16 amps. The 4 ohm revolt has 64 volts and 16 amps. So that's 64 times 16. 64 times 16 is 1,024 watts. 1,024 watts. And now we're going to do the 6 ohm resistor. The 6 ohm resistor has V3 across it, which is 156. So it's 156 volts. And then the current divided by 6, which is 26. So that one absorbs 26 times 156 watts. 26 times 156 watts is 4,056 watts. All right, last two resistors are coming up. Last two resistors are coming up. And at that point, we will be done. We are 4 minutes from the end of the live stream. So there are 12 people in here. If all 12 people start tapping, we should be able to get to 25,000 likes. If you're one of the 12 people hanging out inside of here with us, please make sure you're checking out the TikTok shop. And please also make sure you are tapping on the screen so that when we come back tomorrow, our stuff ends up on the FYP. Okay? Tap, 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 tap. You can tap on your iPad, iPhone, and on your computer. I'm pretty sure you can tap on all of those to like the live. Tap, 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 tap. All right, so now we're going to do the 2 ohm and the 3 ohm resistor. So I never gave you the answer to the trivia question. The name of the robot that was the first artificial intelligent robot, and it actually was at Stanford Research Lab, not Carnegie Mellon, was Shaky. The name of that robot was Shaky. So that's your little piece of robot trivia for today. I will periodically give you other robot trivia. So once again, that just shows artificial intelligence has been around for a long time. We're just hearing about large language models now. That's the new thing. But the artificial intelligence has been around forever. That's not new. Okay, so for the 2 ohm resistor, 156 minus 80, 156 minus 80 is 76 volts, 76. So the 2 ohm resistor has 76 volts across it, and 76 divided by 2, 38 amps flowing through it. 76 times 38 is 2,888 watts. I really hope this works, but no guarantees. Last one is the 3 ohm resistor. So if we go look at the 3 ohm resistor, the 3 ohm resistor has 80 volts on the left and negative 64 in the middle. 80 minus negative 64 is 144 volts. So the 3 ohm resistor has 144 volts flowing through it. I'm sorry, across it. And flowing through it is 144 divided by 3. It's 48 amps. 48 amps. And then finally, the power absorbed by the 3 ohm resistor. The power absorbed by the 3 ohm resistor is 144 times 48. 144 times 48. 6,912 watts. All right, let's add this all up and see what we're working with here. So the total power delivered is 800 plus 14,080. 14,880 watts. The total power delivered is 14,880 watts delivered, okay? Now I'm going to add these 4 numbers up, and we're going to get 2,888 plus 6,912 plus 1024 plus 4056. 14,880. It actually worked, darlings. I don't believe it. Okay. So we have confirmed that power delivered equals power absorbed. So recap, we use Kirchhoff's current law, the node voltage method or nodal analysis in order to sum the currents into and out of every unknown node. So we don't do ground. We never do ground. And if you do ground, you will have an redundant system of equations, a linearly dependent system of equations. And we were able to solve for the unknown voltages, node voltages, use those to get the unknown voltages, currents, and powers for every element in that circuit. We summed all the elements delivering power. We summed all the elements absorbing power. And we were able to show that the law of conservation of energy was upheld. I want to thank you for hanging with me tonight. I will be back tomorrow for STEAM Sunday. I do not know what time. It depends on when I wake up. It depends on when I start working. But I got to get some rest because those kids wore me out today. And yesterday was also equally as exhausting, if not more. So stay fantastic and thank you for hanging with me. And thanks for being your awesome self. Good night, everyone.